Yeah, whatever, we'll get to the title topic here momentarily, man. I want to, make a request, to the audience, to the nation out there, man. Make sure y'all lift your brother up in prayer. Lift me up in prayer if you could. I've had quite a stressful day today. Quite a overwhelmingly stressful day, and I've had some hurdles, kind of set in front of me that I'm not accustomed to. Which of course you don't see me do. You'll never see me do it. But it's all right. I don't have no problem being humble and coming to the nation, just as I'm here for y'all and here to serve y'all. I know y'all are here for me. So let's read this. This, my son, if thou come to serve Yahweh, prepare thy soul for temptation. So always keep this in mind. We serving Yahweh, and in serving him, we understand that hard times are going to come. It's not a mystery. And we're living in such a diabolically evil world. But gold stays gold. Burnt or not, it'll still be gold. And when things cool off, it's going to cool right back into what it's supposed to be, right? Believe in him, who is him, Yahweh, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in him, right? So do the right thing, walk in these laws, statutes, and commandments, and have faith. Well, he sent me this, and he's just like, he wasn't a fan of this video, just because he feels like, man, brothers always make videos and, things like that. These same brothers wouldn't talk to you. And it's crazy because the brother who is actually doing this video is actually one of the brothers we saw at GMS in LA. When we was in Inglewood and we walked up on him, he was one of the brothers, right? Yeah, they've been mad for years. But this brother actually, I own my pass over. They're in Atlanta, so I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up on them for sure, right? That's damn right. Anakahan, big up priest Anakahan, but lawyer.
That's going to be a response to what Elazar the Sicarii recently said on one of his interviews about how the return of Yahweh Shai can happen between now and 1,000 years from now. Okay, and although that may seem like a very generalized and vague statement, the ramifications of what he's saying is what has the Akim, particularly here in Great Millstone, doing response videos. Okay, now although what he said isn't necessarily wrong,
So let's get this straight. What I said is not necessarily wrong. Okay. What I said was not necessarily wrong, right? And I would hope that they wouldn't say what I was saying was necessarily wrong, because I learned that from the elders of Great Millstone. That's why I learned that understanding of what the last days was and when the timeline of Yahweh Shai's return is. I learned that what I said on that interview. I learned that from the elders of Great Millstone, the apostles of Great Millstone. I learned that. So I would hope to think that they wouldn't say that I was wrong for that. But somehow, some way, even though I'm not wrong, even though I am saying and teaching the exact thing that I learned from the leadership of their organization, they're in an uproar doing response videos. Like Officer Kamal said, what's the problem? In the interview, right? Number one, there are viral clips of especially this camp saying things in poor taste that are taken out of context, that have been plastered all over the world, that have shaped and molded many people's perspective on us, right? So a part of what I am doing when the Most High opens up doors to put me in these positions, to get in these interviews and on these platforms, I am aiming to change the narrative about this truth, because we represent the Most High. We represent his son. We represent our ancestors. We're representing something bigger than ourselves. We're representing something bigger than ourselves, especially when it's dealing with Yahweh and his son. So I aim to challenge and change the narrative. And that's on myself, and that's on down to the rest of this organization.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha HaKwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to your other brethren, your other elders and brethren and supporters of the truth. And shalom to you for your sisters, your supporters of this ministry as well. And shalom to the elect. So anyway, I want to go on another edition of Grla Hebrew. And I went on his page, Chief Dome, and he did this video. And then there was a couple of comments left to me, which I'll go into as well. It seems like, everybody lacks accountability. They do not want to be held accountable. Now, us as Israelites, we're supposed to be setting the stage of so-called religion, which goes to faith, to this belief. The problem is there's different doctrines, and the Lord is only dealing with his elect. So you got some who say it's not about the elect. Some say it's all about a nation, IUIC. Some say it's all about the commandments. And then you have this group who was hijacked a little of GMS. He hijacked a little of IUIC, maybe HOI. He reminds me of FOPI, right? So he's for polygamy, I guess because it benefits him. Okay, he's for polygamy because of us. We teach that it's not a sin to have more than one wife, but he's all about the laws. Okay, but then he carries on a little divine prospect and says, Paul, the letters of Paul is not all authenticated. So this is what happened when a guy who followed their elders and teachers have now exalted himself to be the head teacher. And I believe there's a lot of jealousy for his elders. And this is why I believe these situations, if it did happen with him, he has father issues, right? We don't know what happened to him when he was young, but there was definitely something going on to where he hate, these elder men, and he talked trash on them. And then in the same video, he says, he's trying to clean up what GMS is destroyed. And this is the problem. So these people are concerned with what everybody else has to say about what we teach. And the whole ministry of Yahushua was not about what people liked. That's why he was crucified. It's unbelievable how these Israelites have turned this truth into some type of show, some type of SNL. You know what I'm saying? It's out of control. Let me read a couple of the comments. But first, let me get Proverbs 16 and 18. It says, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Now, this video he made was literally 2 days before his opening act, I guess. I don't know if it was an act, but it looked like it. Okay? Because if he was that tough, and he's calling himself the gorilla. Gorillas represent strength, right? So if he went through that and he crumbled like that, he didn't stand on a dime. You know what I'm saying? But this same guy has made accusations and put pictures of Elder Apostle Tahab. I had pictures of me up and so forth, and we never crumbled. We stayed focused because we understand what 1 Corinthians 4 says, that we'll be buffeted and smitten for the truth. But these guys didn't stand in the simplicity of Yahushua. Okay, so let me read a comment. This was a comment off the video I did. This guy, Lion here 188492, commented, "We don't know what you other brothers are doing either." No, you don't. But we understand that Luke 6:17, I believe, when it says that all things that are in secret shall be made manifest. And if any brothers is doing things in secret and the Lord wants it to be made manifest, this proves that these people have no faith. I would never say anything like that to anybody else. They also hate accountability. We're supposed to be the ones as Israelites that's supposed to purge out the wickedness. But because he's a friend and they love him so much and he was that great teacher, they can't accept that he was wicked. No, they can't accept that. So what do? We accept the wrongs for their doings. Okay? We don't know what you're doing either. So what about what he's doing? So you cut off the fact that all the wickedness that he's done, and we're talking about before the trinkets, toys, and all other stuff that he, may have ordered from Amazon or eBay. I don't know. I personally believe the woman might have set him up as well. It might have been something going on, but this woman set his ass up, and they will reveal your secrets. You know what I'm saying? So you brothers in the truth, if you got any kinks, some of that nature, you shouldn't be in the truth anyway. You need to repent if you're coming in the truth with those kinks, especially if you got a wife. But beyond the wife, the Lord, remember the scripture says the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. The book of Sirach. Okay? He said, you are no one to judge. Brothers need to work on your own salvation. Yeah, part of our salvation is watch over the sheep, to watch over the flock. Didn't Paul, I guess they don't believe everything Paul say, mark them that cause division, contrary to the doctrine. Need to, what do you say? You need to work on your own salvation. That's what we're doing. That's why I'm doing the video I'm doing. If I sit up there and I watch this behavior go on and I say nothing, right, then I'm going to be judged for it. The Lord is going to get us. See, Great Millstone, we're the ones that set the standard, right? Legitimately, okay, in sincerity. You heard vocab say that. We set the standard in making sure that this walk, that we continue to fight on this walk. So the brother at Get This Work, I met that brother, Salaki, I forgot your name. He does great videos, by the way. Al-Azhar is having these debates about the day of the Lord is 1,000 years, and I guess it was going in the fact that he's mentioning 1,000 years. This is rubbing us the wrong way as prophets. We're in the end times. Yes, the day of the Lord is 1,000 years, but those years are up as far as us being delivered out of here. Remember, those things was mentioned back then, thousands of years ago. So it was being said. We understand it more now than back then. You know what I'm saying? So what if we don't say nothing? Don't the scripture says if you love your brother, you would tell him? You would tell him his fault? This is madness, man. Let's go to Proverbs. I think it's 24. Proverbs 24. I don't want to quote a lot, so I'll just read some. Give me a second. 24. Is it 24? It says here, he that saith unto the wicked, thou art righteous, him shall people curse. Nations shall abhor him. But to them that rebuke him shall be delight, and a good blessing shall come upon them. As also the scriptures say, he that justifieth the wicked and condemneth the just. When you sit up there and you make comments saying, we don't know what you brothers are doing, you're trying to X out and make an excuse for what this other brother's doing. Other than that, you will zoom in on this and be the example. This is why None of these people need to be on the comment boards. And I remember when I first did the video, they said there's no proof. Where's the evidence? And then he tells you the evidence. And then you still come with these particular type of comments. This is why you are led astray. His followers, the majority of them, of the Grla Hebrew, these Genesis characters, and all this other made up type of doctrines, right, is all fraudulent. This is all a game. This is like a game show. Right? So let's go here to 2 Peter 3:8. It says, but beloved, be not ignorant one thing of this one thing, that the day of the Lord is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years to one day as one day. Why is he up there trying to so-called make a great image for the Israelites? And what he's saying, and this is what he's saying, he says GMS has stained the Israelite community. The Lord had enough of this Negro, man. The Lord has had enough of him. 2 days afterwards, and you see what he's done. You see what Polite did when Polite talked trash on us and tried to make a stain? But we entreated, no problem. But what did Elder Apostle Tahar do? Remember the situation with Apostle Rakar, and they tried to get on him and say all the things about him? What did he do? Did he not stand and continue to fight? This guy steps down. Where's your strength? Where's your faith? That proves you the toughest guerrilla jakes are the weakest. You know what I'm saying? Are the weakest. 2 Timothy 4:2. 2 Timothy 4:2. Preach the word, be instant, in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering. I'm going to the blue letter. This is why I'm sharing my screen. Reprove and rebuke. The word reprove goes to convict, generally with a suggestion of shame. That's what's supposed to happen. This is what Christians don't do. So really, it's a bad look, but it also shows the goodness in us to bring these things out and don't hide it like a lot of these people want to do. Can you imagine hiding this? If this is true, right? Can you imagine hiding adultery? This is the same thing happened. I'm not going to say the group because they're not under the scope, but there was a particular group that had rampant adultery. I'd say like 11, 12 years ago. And I was doing videos on them. And the same comments came out. We don't know what you're doing in the back. How do we know you're not doing it? The same thing. Would Cat Williams say the same thing? And saying that's personal. It shouldn't be. Why is it all over the internet? It seems that our people do not like accountability, just like the black woman. They hate accountability. They do not want to accept when they're wrong. And according to the Bible, confess your faults, acknowledge your wrong, and be the Lord chastises who he loves, man. You know what I'm saying? If Alazar was being wicked, maybe he didn't do it, or maybe there was something to it. What are you supposed to do? Okay. So that's what that means. Suggestion of shame. Let's go into shame. Let's see what that says. Guilt or disgrace. The shame, disgrace, dishonor, to insult. I mean, these Israelites, they got an issue with us shaming for this type of disgrace. You remember at the Passover, the Lord's Passover, the Lord has a way of bringing things back around. See, all you jakes, you cry about Esau, the white man, and he's going to get paid back, and he deserves what he get. And they make a joke. I mean, let me say they make a concert out of the truth. You're joking, you're playing with the Lord. And the main thing that he was doing in this group, they had a concert at the Passover. They made a complete joke out of it. And it's because he wasn't taught, he didn't teach what he's been taught. He thought he was the better man. He thought he was the top apostle. He thought he was the chief. And the Lord broke his ass down and showing you that that's not to be true. That's wicked. Remember all that Passover stuff and booty clappers in the Passover? Yeah, we saw the freakism back then. Okay. We saw it back then. 1 Corinthians 2:15. What did the guy say? Who are you to judge? You can't judge. Tells you they ain't been paying attention in class. 1 Corinthians 2:15. But he is that is spiritual, judge of all things, yet himself is judge of no man. Why? Because if you're spiritual, you can correct. That's what it is. You can correct brothers. If a brother got long hair and you ain't got long hair, you judge him. You say, hey, you're going off. Here goes, says, but he who is spiritual appraises all things. That's why I like going in lexicon sometime. This is NSAB. What does this say? Here we go. It says to inquire. The New Testament describes to examine or investigating something thoroughly. They got a problem with us getting on doing videos on other camps. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? They got a problem with us saying, no, you can't say this. It's not correct. And really, it's not for you other camps. It's for the elect. Right? Whoever's listening. There's a lot of people out there watching the truth. We had maybe 3 brothers come to our camp that was listening to the other camps. All we can say is just put out the word. They look at it as we hate them. We were supposed to just let everybody teach what they teach because at the end of the day, we all Israelites. But do you know Israelites was responsible for the death of the Messiah? You do know Israelites was responsible for a whole lot of theft and deception, right? You did read Matthew 23 when Yahushua went in there and got on the Pharisees. You do know this. So those Pharisees are back today, the wicked ones. So you got to know that the same people are back doing the same thing. So when this is happening, you can't sit up there and like going back in time, they would have told the Messiah, well, look, man, just leave them alone, man. As long as they're waking our people up, they would have told Apostle Paul that. Didn't they try to get him when he ran to Agrippa? They would have said, look, Apostle Paul, man, you got to let them be, man. Just don't, they can do what they want to do. All they doing is following the law. As long as they follow the law, if they fall short, that's all right. This is what they're saying. Do what you want to do. As long as each group can do what he wants to do, don't say nothing about it. Let them handle it inside, but somehow it gets out and we hear about it. If this stayed inside, we wouldn't have known about it, but somehow it leaked. Man's goings of the Lord, Proverbs 20:24. How do we know? Because the Spirit of the Lord aired it out. And I'll say this again. How do we know some of them women in those camps that flock to those camps aren't paid off? They don't mind having sex with you. Hey, some of them call girls. I'm not saying that's the case. Esau has no problem, man. Trust me. He will spend whatever kind of money he needs to spend to disrupt this truth and take the name of the Lord away. Okay? Bring all kinds of heresies. Don't call on the letters of Paul. Just all kinds of heresies, man. And it's because the orders that they came up under, they totally destroyed it. Anyway, examine. A process of examination, investigation, something thoroughly. Read that. Investigation, crucial in both legal and philosophical contexts. Legal proceedings often involve detailed questioning and examination of witnesses and evidence. Philosophically, the practice of critical inquiry and examination was central to the pursuit of knowledge and truth. In the Jewish context, examination was also a part of religious and moral discernment, as seen in the practices of the Sahedrim, and other religious leaders. Right? So, yeah, we have to judge. We have to examine. You know, we have to. That's what it's about. So anyway, I just wanted to touch on this video real quick. I just thought it was interesting that this man has literally said he's cleaning up the mess GMS made, and he's trying to show people that the Israelite community ain't what it is. And what I'll say is that the Israelites were never meant to be liked. We were never meant to be liked by everybody else. And there's nothing you can do to make someone like you. I mean, this is, this is common knowledge. You can have someone you like, and you can pay them money, you can fix their car, you can give them a ring. If they don't like you, they don't like you. And they don't like us because of what we teach. And what this guy's doing, what's happening with these guys is they are ashamed of the gospel. This is why the eyes should be K2. This is why they say the things that they say, with saying netta, that the Lord doesn't authorize or he never invented the homosexuality. It's because these guys are all ashamed of the gospel. They only care about what everybody thinks about them. And this is the same thing with Grla Hebrew. He only cares what the rest of the world sees. So he can, in their minds, wake up people. But are they waking them up for the elect and to reach salvation? Or are they waking them up for more profit, right? For more clout? That's all I have on that. Shalom.